All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, where we are going to talk about the rematch coming up between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. And I spoke with somebody that is very educated on nutrition and bodybuilding and training athletes, and pointed out a big mistake that Errol Spence Jr. cannot make. He believes again in the lead up to the Terrence Crawford fight, or things could go get real ugly. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division talking about what I want to talk about, which is, again, the 147-pound division and a big fight that should be taking place in December, the rematch between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford, and giving you a little bit of insight that was given to me about the rematch and what Errol Spence Jr. could have done, what a big mistake for Errol Spence Jr. could have been leading into the Terrence Crawford fight, because he had said that he had done something different for the fight with Terrence Crawford in the last one that he had done previously. Spoke with somebody that is an expert on nutrition and physical fitness, specifically in bodybuilding, former football player, bodybuilder, and somebody that is an expert on the field. And interesting stuff. This is going to be the first time that I've ever said this is not medical advice in a video that I'm doing. However, it was interesting because it's kind of something that I'm going through myself with my health. And in doing so, and in talking to somebody about what I'm doing and the kind of the risks with some of the things that I'm doing, the subject matter came out, and it was just kind of enlightening to me. But before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your support. Now, what am I talking about? Errol Spence Jr. got beat very badly by Terrence Crawford in the fight that he had on July 29th. Many observers, let me say this first part first. Terrence Crawford looked very good in the fight, dominated the fight from the second round on. Errol Spence Jr., according to many people, did not look like himself in that fight. Looked very unsteady on his feet. Very difficult for him to cut. It was very difficult for him to cut weight, apparently, and just it did not look as good in that camp, walking into the fight or during the fight, according to many people. But then also, after the fight was over, there was a picture that emerged of him, in which he looked like he put on a lot of weight, looked significantly bigger than he did when he was the part of training. People like Abel Sanchez said, man, you could look at his eyes, he looked like a skeleton, right? All of those things that we've heard. Now, one of the things that was said by Errol Spence in the lead into the fight was that he said, look, he said it was difficult making weight, but he said what he had done now is that he has kept a dietitian with him and worked with the dietitian who kept him for a long period of time close to that weight, close enough to fighting weight to be able to get down to fighting weight. My understanding, though, is that closer to the weight was somewhere around 170 pounds for Errol Spence Jr. And Errol Spence Jr. just very well may be a guy that just is not going to be able to make 147 pounds anymore. However, this was the interesting conversation that I had, because essentially I was asking, okay, well, what kind of diet would you have what kind of diet would you have that would allow somebody to stay towards that weight, right? And not have to sweat the food out, not have to sweat a lot of water out and all of that, but just really stay close to the weight. And they were like, well, the obvious thing is you're going to be in some type of hybrid close to a ketogenic diet where you're basically eating proteins, you're eating proteins and you're eating fat, and you're not eating a lot of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates being things like bread, rice, whole grains, a lot depending on how much of a how far you're holding your carbs back. A ketogenic diet is somewhere around 50 grams, less than 50 grams of carbohydrates per day. Depending on some people, go down as low, less than 20 grams of carbohydrates per day. So that pretty much allows your body to continually burn fat and not burn carbohydrates, because the order that your body burns energy is I do believe it goes to carbohydrates first. And then after that, it'll go to fat, or unless you have some type of alcohol in your system that doesn't have it, right? It'll go from alcohol to the carbs, then to your fat, right? However, there are certain things in your body that really need glucose. And glucose is and this again is not medical advice. This is just me giving you a base explanation of what was explained to me, that when your body takes in carbohydrates, it turns it into glucose. When it turns into glucose, that's what your body uses first for like the emergency fuel that you need, right? Now, so essentially they were like, however, you're only supposed to, especially with really low rates, you're only supposed to keep that there and do that for a certain amount of time. However, if you overdo it, or if you're exercising in ways where you really need a lot of like you're doing high aerobic exercises and you're really getting your heart rate up, like running up hills, like really hard training, that your body, when you're really going hard, your body needs glucose, because it's in an emergency type of situation. That's how your body interprets it. So a guy that is like a weightlifter or a bodybuilder, they'll go into these carb depletion things and really get ripped up. Their body weight will drop down. But because they're muscles, you're doing something that's really strenuous. Your muscles need glucose to do it, and it's not there. So you are greatly weakened in that state. So what they say is that you have to do it. You do that for a while. You cut everything off your body, but then you go back to eating and you let your body replenish all the nutrients and things that it didn't get while you were doing that. Because in order to keep a very restrictive diet and on top of it be exercising very, very hard, that could really wear you down and put you in a situation where you feel very, very weak, where your brain, and there's another thing, your brain operates, your brain can't operate off of fat. Your brain operates off the carbohydrates. So Errol Spence Jr. said that he was eating like a rabbit, right? Rabbits, fruits, like pretty much vegetables, right? And some small amounts of protein. You're doing all of that, then you very well can affect your equilibrium. It can do all those type of things. So that's my understanding of what was explained to me. Now, people with a better working explanation of it can do that for you, but that was my understanding. And they said if he does this again at 154, it's going to be the same. It could very well be the same problem. He's just not going to bring his strength into the ring. And so if it's at 154 pounds, he may be significantly stronger, but he also could do better with just having a regular traditional weight cut where he is whatever weight he's at. He keeps it at a reasonable weight, but a weight where he can, provide nutrients to his body and glucose to his brain and to his muscles when he's working out, but then go through that traditional weight loss program where you basically sweat it out, you get it out and you snap back, versus keeping yourself in that situation for months at a time where, you really shouldn't be there. Even with me, and this is why I'm saying, looking at it in a personal situation, where I need to get rid of weight and I've lost about 30 pounds, there is a certain amount of time, and I'm not doing like the very, very strict keto diet or anything like that. Well, it's definitely holding off on carbohydrates and the such to a large extent, but that's just because I was really doing way too much. However, when looking up the literature on that, they say that, you can do that for a bit of time, the 20 grams and below, 50 grams and below, but eventually you're going to need to, up those carbohydrates because your body actually needs them to operate properly. So, it's just a really interesting take on that, and whether or not, working with that dietitian who kept him in that condition for 7-8 months, right? That definitely could zap your body, and he could rebound, provided he can rebound from it. And it's not the neurological damage that they talked about before, that he may be able to come back and be in a much better situation. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. I know that was kind of, sciencey or whatever, but just interesting conversation to me. To the people that think this is an excuse, I could care less what you think, because honestly, I can say as many nice things as I want to say about Terrence Crawford, and you never hear them. All you do is just look for an opportunity to dump on Errol, Spence Jr. or get mad at me for whatever. But you know how it works. Free Black in 21. So I'm going to say exactly what it is that I want to say and talk about the things that I want to talk about. And you complaining about it most definitely ain't about to change me and stop me from doing it. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.